In the eyes of the ranger, the unsuspecting stranger had better know the truth of wrong from right. 'Cause the eyes of the ranger are upon you. Anywhere you go, he's gonna see. When you're in Texas, look behind you. 'Cause that's where the ranger's gonna be. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, Sejohn Sarowick. Sejohn?
Hey everybody, it's Sejohn. Sorry, reeling. I wasn't informed, but it's okay. Oh man,
You okay? Is everything all right? Was that haunting?
Man. It was a visceral snap back to my time in East Providence, Rhode Island, as a young lad watching Walker Texas Ranger marathons with my grandparents on CMT.
Okay. So people did watch Walker Texas Ranger. That was kind of going to be my question.
Yeah.
Because a big thing that I want to talk about is the Walker Texas Ranger reboot on the CW. That's something I'm bringing to this episode. But before that, I feel like there's something that we need to address so that I can get it out of the way, get that monkey off my back.
Okay.
Because of the everything nature of this show. You want to take a guess at what I'm talking about, Sejohn?
I could not even begin. Is it the fact that Don Johnson's going to be on a sitcom with Kenan Thompson? I'm super excited about this.
It does involve a Don, and John is his middle name.
Oh, I have no idea where you're going, man. You've lost me.
Well, you brought up Don Johnson, but I wanted to talk about the second acquittal of former President Donald J. Trump.
Oh, see, completely couldn't even go there on my own. And also, yes, I knew I brought up Don Johnson. You were trying to tell me it was something else.
No, I'm fine with that. I like Don Johnson. He's a good guy. I'm excited. I didn't know he was going to be in Kenan. That's exciting. Yeah. When does Kenan start? It's this month sometime, right?
It's super soon, and I only just heard about it, and I'm not going to get to watch it right away because I don't have Peacock, but we'll get to that.
Is it only on Peacock? It's not going to NBC, too?
It might be on NBC as well, but I don't watch TV.
Right, but you have Hulu, don't you?
Wait. Are things that are like now premiering on NBC that are gonna that are like their reason to get me to Peacock, have they also allowed those things to be on Hulu?
Oh yeah, because they technically have a stake in both still.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be at least a year, I believe, before there's no more connection or licensing agreements that push NBC shows to Hulu. Like Mr. Mayor, which is a show I'm ready to discuss as well once we get past the monkey on my back. That's on Hulu. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And
I have purposely not been seeking out NBC stuff thinking it was only on Peacock. So there you go. That's the messaging that you've been putting out.
That's terrifying, Sejohn. I'm very sorry to hear that. But I want to get to the acquittal of Donald Trump because I'm very bothered by it. I'm so bothered by it that I'm sitting here at my microphone and even though anything that I say will have no effect on the outcome of what happened in the past or going forward, it was a visceral punch in the stomach to me. Watching on Saturday, and it wasn't even intended. It's not like we were sitting here as if it were the Super Bowl and we had, a plate of nachos and we're going to see him get his comeuppance. The show we were watching ended. We were watching it on our Fire Stick, and we flipped back, and because we had the Saturday morning news on beforehand, that was on. And what it was Donald Trump acquitted, vote of 57-43.
Yep. Yeah, I was just kind of scrolling through Reddit, and then suddenly posts about it started popping up, and I was like, well, shit, guess that happened. It was a bit of a surreal news moment for me, for real.
It was, the surrealism comes when Mitch McConnell does a 5-minute speech on Donald Trump is definitely guilty, but I don't feel it's right for us to impeach him since he's no longer president.
And I wonder why he's no longer president, because I'm pretty sure he was impeached early enough that a 5-day trial would have definitely happened. Oh, that's right, because Mitch McConnell decided he didn't want to do it back in January.
Yeah, right. There you go. But like the speech that like read as if, I was one of the 7 Republicans who crossed the aisle to vote for his impeachment. So don't look at me. I voted for Kodos. No, you didn't, you fuck. What is this mea culpa moment? That, like, I'd love to, but the Constitution doesn't allow for us to impeach someone who's no longer in office.
I feel that every moment should be a learning moment, Devon. I really do. And I think that I am going to, and I do that because I think it provides a silver lining to even the most terrible of circumstances, right? I think that the thing I'm going to take away from this insanity of really, I will say this, just the last year, but really, is how little I realized Mitch McConnell was the problem, and now no, he's the problem. And like, I remember the turtle memes. I remember Jon Stewart calling him out all the way back on the Daily Show back in the day. Like it's not like Mitch McConnell was new to me, but there was always this sense of like harmlessness to his evil, like, right?
Well, I mean, the issue comes where he becomes like a true wielder of power, where he's revealed to be the emperor behind Darth Vader in the second movie, fifth movie.
And much like Palpatine, I thought he was dead long ago, but then he suddenly came back right here at the end.
It is the rise of Siegewalker. No, it's just one of those moments where like it happened because he was Senate Majority Leader. And he was the person in that role and was just like, I'm in charge. I'm going to do whatever I want. And there's no one to push back against me because this guy, he'd rather be golfing. Yeah, it hurt. It like hurt in this weird way. And it hurt in the way we talk a lot on this show. We talk too much on this show about the intended message of a movie like Clerks and the learned message that Clerks has going on in perpetuity in pop culture for a generation.
There's a lot of there's a lot of movies that go that way, but
right.
Yes,
Clerks is one that Clerks tends to be the gold standard of references for me. And it's being made all the more apparent by the fact that we are halfway through the Quentin Tarantino library as a family, and like his movies, I don't feel like anyone was ever like, oh, we should just be killing everybody. Like, no, the glorification and the problem that, like, revenge hurts everybody.
Yeah.
Like, those messages were taken away. Nobody saw Pulp Fiction and was like, I gotta start doing heroin, right? Eric Stoltz will save me.
No, but people definitely saw Pulp Fiction and started things like swearing, like conversations. There is definitely some things that people took away from those movies that were not like, yes, but
right. But Clerks is that gold standard of like, I don't think you're supposed to want to aspire to be these guys.
Right.
And maybe if Dante in the end had been shot as originally intended, that message would have gotten through. That like, complaining that you're going nowhere in life, you're going to end up dead eventually, having done nothing.
And he would have become a martyr. That's the
scary thing.
Issue.
That's the other thing, is that no matter what, things are interpreted how America and the population and those watching it want to. And while I want the message of what happened to be, we need to dramatically change who is in charge in this country. Like, if I lived in Kentucky, I would be running for Senate right now. I have no political experience, but, like, I'd want to make the change in that state to get rid of Emperor Palpatine in living form that Mitch McConnell represents.
Yeah, just pull a Nunes, man. Just buy a farm down in Kentucky with just enough land to qualify to run for government and then take over and, get into a fight with a Twitter cow. But, yeah, man, I want that to definitely be what people see here, but
but it really feels like you could do whatever you want and you're really not going to be held accountable for your actions.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of takes the legs out from under the justice system.
Yeah, the entire concept of justice for old white rich dudes in this country
not
suddenly
just
put
old
on
white
display.
rich dudes in this, because like as much as those people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th are having the cows come home, and we are seeing them, you know, face charges and consequences of that action, like at the same time, the person who, as was proven, right? If there's anything, like if it was in question for me that Donald Trump had something to do with those people marching on the Capitol on January 6th, everything that was shown in the second impeachment trial of Donald J. Trump proved to me that, yeah, no, that's right. I wasn't misinterpreting the facts. It wasn't a bias on my part. This guy wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
And he's not shy about that.
No, he straight up said it.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. And they played us all of those. And like, so if you're not going to hold the ringleader accountable, how can you hold the people who acted accountable? Like, it's just this trickle down thing where like justice seems to be nothing in this country to me right now. And that's terrifying. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I know. We're not going to define the answer here, but
like, to be like, when justice means nothing, who do we turn to? Let's get to
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Like, I can't do that.
No, you can't. It's a beautiful segue point that I gave you, but like, no, because Walker, Texas Ranger is a fictional character. The Justice League, they are fictional characters, and the Justice League, come to find out, they're criminals too, a lot of the time, acting under their own jurisdiction. I mean, like, vigilantes. I want to talk about Batwoman too. I didn't get the chance to watch the 4th episode. I've had all this TV marinating in my brain that I want to talk about, and I haven't because I wanted to give them 4 episodes. But, like, no, we're going to talk about Batwoman because people are real mad at Batwoman right now. The 2nd season of Batwoman has not gone great. And I'd like to talk about why I think it's perfect, why it's exactly the type of superhero show we need, as WandaVision is the #1 show in the country. There's a lot I want to get to. There's a lot I want to talk about. But, like, I feel I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't somehow signal the fact that, like, I'm also mad as hell right now. Yeah. And, like, looking for the escape that television is providing me. Which, like, also scary because bread and circus is all you need to quell the masses.
Yeah.
That's it. I said my piece. I don't. We're not a political podcast. We just talk about everything, which means that politics fall under our banner, right? We did this beautiful thing when we made ourselves a show about everything, and like it has just been on the corner of my mind since I watched it happen, and it's
just one last little flick in the nuts on his way out the door, man. That's all it is. You got like it's just one last little just like sack tap, and he's just like, all right, see you later, and then he never shows up again.
I mean, does he never show up again? They're not able to bar him from running in the 2024 election. So
they might. There's some other avenues.
I mean, there are definitely other avenues, right? If you're a convict, I'm pretty sure you can't run for president. And they are saying that, you know, acts of terrorism are crimes. So there might be a silver lining somewhere down the line, but that's still somewhere down the line. Yeah. But it just feels like, my God, this guy who incited an act of terrorism on our own home soil is currently able to just walk around and do what he do, right? I mean, we haven't seen him in a while, but like, we also took away Twitter. You think if he were on Twitter still, he'd be an idiot and like geotagging his locations? I'm going till 15 minutes with this. I don't want to say anymore, and I really don't have any more to say. I had to get it out in some way, shape, or form, and I'm sorry. But like, you're going to talk. I'm going to give you a cue. I'm going to go and to Sejohn, and congratulations, you got a segue out of my just like anger right now. And that's not fair of me to do, but like, I'm angry and I can't be consoled. So let's throw to Sejohn.
I, I don't think you're alone right now, man. There's kind of it's a bittersweet ending to the last 4 years, and I think that that's really what everybody's kind of dealing with. What you're dealing with is like we were in a place where this was over and we were feeling really good, and then this just popped in to just remind us like things aren't exactly solved yet. And I think that maybe that's where did we go, right? Is like where we are at right now is a better place than we were a year ago, but it is not the best place we could be in.
Yeah, as we also cross the 1 year anniversary of the first United States citizen who died because of COVID-19, like,
Mhm.
and it doesn't look like it's getting any better.
But it is, right? Like, and that's the thing.
I mean, that's
Is
the thing.
like,
It is. It's just. It's not going away by Easter, which is something that was trumpeted. Man, I'm good at picking my words deliberately. Um, it's just, yeah, like it's still something that we're dealing with, and probably something that we're going to deal with for the rest of humanity's time on this planet. And I don't know. I don't think anybody was fully prepared for that, huh? I don't know. It's a weird time right now in America. And thank God for television is
yeah, man.
what I'm
Like,
going to say.
yeah, no, this weekend I feel like the world's kind of came together to give us a whole bunch of stuff to just take our brains off of everything. Because like in addition to like all of the TV stuff that is coming back, right, and is now kind of in its full swing, so we know what we want to keep dedicating our time to and what we don't. We also had two major video game drops this past weekend. One completely expected, the Mario drop for Super Mario 3D World came out, including the additional Bowser's Fury. And then also Stardew Valley 1.5 just decided to drop on consoles on the same day. And like I have never been more conflicted in my life about what game to play first.
Oh, I mean, the second I saw that Stardew Valley 1.5 dropped, I knew that all of our plans for the weekend were like put in the back seat of the car. I'm not even mad
Yeah,
about it.
they
Like,
kind of were and they weren't. I mean, I'll be honest, I ended up playing more Mario than Stardew
that's
all weekend.
awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, but the big thing with Stardew is like it's a slow burn. Like a lot of the stuff that's been added is great, but like it's gonna take a while to get to it, or it's not so obvious because it's not like surface level stuff. A lot of his algorithm-y type things. The biggest thing that you can do right up front is there's a new type of farm, which is the beach farm, and everybody was losing their minds because first of all, it's gorgeous, it's shaped weird, it has a whole bunch of features and like pros and cons that make it like you really have to think about what you're gonna do with it. So yeah, so like it was a blast because like definitely played a ton of it. I started three different farms, one of my own, one one with the family, and then one that's gonna be just like a fun run just to see what I can get away with. Took a bunch of exploits out. Little pissed about that, not really, but like there was definitely some quick ways to make cash in 1.4 like 1.3 or whatever it was that like people had been using since the original and are mysteriously not available now in the new in the new update. Not that mysterious. It's just
There's no such thing as mysterious.
it's like that, but it's like that that conversation that we've had about like the patch
Oh
of
yeah.
like the day one patch like changing the game completely, or like later patches that come out because this was too easy or this was too hard, and at some point you have to wonder like when is the game just the game, like warts and all. And the thing with Stardew Valley is like it's been a game for 4 years now, 5 years now, right? Like 2015 I think is the first like version of it. And so there's this idea that like 5 years later you put in a patch that changes like a cheat or an exploit. At that point that's just part of the game to me, you know. And like it's one of those things that I also like discovered well on my way into like playing that game. Like I must have put 300 hours into that game before I ever discovered that there was a way to like use like cheats essentially in the game. And so I wasn't in a place of like this is going to ruin the entire game for me because I've never known what a hard day's work is in this game. But it's one of those things of like I've spent so much time in this game, I deserve the ability to break it a little bit here and there, right? And so like to now not have that felt a little bit like a punch in the gut. Um
It's the
but like
difference for me, what you're describing is when I'm able to find an exploit, so it feels like personal to me, and that's taken out, it feels like an attack. But if it's something that I've read about online and that's the only reason that I'm aware of it, I'm less bothered by it because, A, why were you talking about it online if you didn't want people to know about it? Like, if you don't want to signal the creators of the game that this thing exists, why are you putting it everywhere? And and the worst congruence of that is when it's something that I've discovered independently on my own, and they're trumpeting about on Reddit, and then that goes away because of the patch. Because it's I wasn't hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Real.
It's definitely one of those things where I really struggle with the idea of it's technically broken. It's not working as you intended it to. So you want to fix it because you want it to be your thing, especially something like this, where as I've touted before about this game, it's made by one dude. It is a passion project, and it's not the first thing that he has tweaked. There's been 5 other versions of this game that he has slowly fixed and patched out things that he didn't want to be in it. And I had no complaint about any of those. So it feels weird to levy this complaint on this one, because the other side of that is there's so much new good stuff in it, and there's so much more quality of life stuff going on in it. Overall, I'm talking I am happy with really 99.9% of everything that's in there. It's just this 0.1% that I had only really kind of just latched onto recently, and now it's not available to me. I was just a little bummed.
Right. I think if I had to describe something like that for me, it was the quick swapping of weapons in Cuphead, which was so quickly patched out in their first patch, but it also deleted any save files that existed pre that patch.
Right. I remember that.
That was so I heard about it. I tried it one time and just to see oh, that's cool. That's doable. I don't want to play the game like that because that's not fun to me. The fun of this game was playing through and beating the bosses. This exploit kind of takes away that challenge, but it's understandable that other people might not have that self-control, because it really did make a game that was giving a lot of people difficulty much easier. So I get it. But then to log in after they released the patch that got rid of it and to see that my save file was gone, that hurt, because I didn't do anything. And it's not like they specifically targeted people who had used it. It's just the nature of it erased save files because they were so quick to get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, then that's even that's a terrible example, right? Because that is a rush job, essentially leading to a really detrimental experience for the user. That is not the case here with Stardew. This he's been working on it, on and off. He's talked about it for a year, 2 years now. And that's just his version. As I said, he's done 4 other versions, right? So there is a sense that everything that's in here is very deliberate. And it feels very deliberate, and you can see, and it's obvious when you try and go and do an exploit that that it's now no longer there, that he clearly was very careful in what he was targeting with this specific patch. And so it was great. And I'm happy to have it. But yeah, so comparing that to something like Mario, it is such a slow burn to get to that new content. If you're only just starting a farm, and even if you start the beach farm, that's only a third of what's in this patch. You're not going to get to the other stuff till way much later. So there was no way that I was going to sit down for 48 hours straight and get to the new content. So that's just going to be something I'm working on over time. So I'll have plenty of time for some Mario, some kitty Mario, some cats everywhere Mario. Hey, you like cats?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. No one likes the Wii U, but everybody likes cats. Let's combine them, and they'll be forced to buy this game. And no, it didn't save the Wii U, even though it probably coulda, shoulda. I haven't touched Bowser's Fury yet.
Okay.
Have you?
Okay. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. See, that's
so I've got 2 game files going. Well, I've got 4 game files altogether, 2 of the original one and 2 of Bowser's Fury. 2 of them are my own, and then 2 of them are family ones.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to touch Bowser's Fury until I recomplete Super Mario 3D World.
I mean, that's cool, but they don't connect.
I know that they don't connect, but it's just like a personal thing. It's like I have to, before I have dessert, I have to have dinner. Mm-hmm. And like, I enjoyed Super Mario 3D World. I did have it on the Wii U, and I'm very happy to play it again because there is this inherent multiplayer aspect of it that was very poorly implemented and realized on the Wii U, which is why it didn't save the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that Wii U gamepad really kind of screwed the pooch when it came to playing these games multiplayer, because there was always one person who had a better experience than anybody else. But yeah, so I'm excited to be replaying it. It feels great. It looks amazing. And Mario moves faster, which is my favorite thing that people are talking about. Because it's not just, it feels like they've actually remastered the game.
Yeah.
As opposed to just dumped it out to the Switch.
Yeah, man. I feel like there's definitely a lot more love and care being put into this one. I think the point of this release is Bowser's Fury. Like, I feel like there was a moment where Bowser's Fury was going to be the game, and they were like, that's not quite enough. And then they were also like, well, we're going to hit that mark. We might as well just put World with it. And so like, it feels like this weird like double package in that like World feels kind of like the bonus game to me right now. Is that like, it's great to have that, but like Bowser's Fury really is like the thing in this package. And so I'm very curious to hear how you feel about it and how other people feel about it, because like, there's a lot going on there that I think it makes this whole thing, it's hard for me to talk about like whether or not it's worth it without talking about the fact that like Bowser's Fury is part of this package.
That's awesome to hear. And I am going to, if possible, I'd like to table the discussion then, if I can be that guy, if I can and run it. Because to me, it felt like Bowser's Fury was bonus content. And then as I learned more about it, it felt like, no, this is kind of its own game. And I hope that this sets a new standard for the Nintendo Switch re-releases going forward. Yeah. That, like, it's not just going to be a single game that we move over. It's going to be an old game and a new game. And I know that's crazy, like, to hope that, but that's what they should do, because they've just proved that they can.
Right. I think it's going to be if this is a continuing trend, which is another conversation entirely, but if this is a continuing trend, I think it's going to be a handful of both. I think what you're going to get is you're going to get the collections of old games or the new game with the old game. Because I feel like if they ever try and do like a Link's Awakening again, like they did early on in this system's life, like it's a fine idea, but Link's Awakening now, I would want there to be more with it. Like, even if it's just like some weird, like silly Oracle of Ages style stuff, you know what I mean? Like there needs to be more than just Link's Awakening in that package now. After I've seen what I can get out of Mario 35 and this.
I mean, my hope with that is that the Oracle games, Ages and Seasons, if they were released together onto one package, I think that'd be great. And I think that they already have a lot of the assets existing with Link's Awakening, so they'd be kind of crazy not to take a game that I don't think many people played. It was released at the tail end of the Game Boy Color, and
in the weird time when you needed to have more than one version of or more than one game in order to complete the experience. So like Pokemon, right? Like
it was that time where every game became Pokemon. Yeah. But it's one of those situations where if you release it in one package and you still get to choose if you're going to start with Seasons or Oracle, and then like that's your game file. Is you're going to play through all of Seasons and then you're going to play through Ages, or vice versa. Like that'd be great, and I would gladly pay for that. And I think that considering that was a $30 game when it first came out, like I don't think anyone would be upset paying $60 to get both of them with the Link's Awakening graphics.
Yeah.
And it lends itself to that in a way that, you know, everybody said, well, it's just because it's a dream that they can get away with those graphics. No, I'm fine with those graphics. They're very cool. They really work.
the graphics are awesome, and anybody in the Zelda community lost the right to complain about graphics in a game when Wind Waker became honestly the best game to come out of that series in the last like 10, 15 years.
Pre Breath of the Wild, yeah, I'll say it.
Yeah, like yeah, it's like
the gold standard was that.
Well, and when Wind Waker caught so much shit that Nintendo got scared and did Twilight Princess, like they straight up, before they realized that Wind Waker was going to become the cult favorite, like.
I mean, it became the cult favorite because of Twilight Princess, and like, oh no, we don't like this grim dark direction you took it. No,
this thing we've been screaming for since Wind Waker, we decided we didn't want that. Can we go back to Wind Waker?
No, Papa Nintendo, you know what I like. I like mac and cheese. I don't need a niçoise salad. Keep the Brazzino to yourself.
Papa Nintendo.
Oh, hey, Papa Nintendo. But yeah, it's true. And it's now okay, so I will have started Bowser's Fury, nay, finished it the next time we record. I can put that on the table without any issue. But I have some gaming planned already for this week. We're going to go through River City Girls, because apparently that's all I do is play Cyber Shadow and River City Girls. Like that's all I am. But you know, since it's on Game Pass and we have the Xbox, we got another one of the new Series X style controllers, and we're gonna play through it on Thursday. That's the plan, to see how different it is. And I don't imagine there'll be that big a difference. But it is technically next-gen hardware.
Yep.
And it's Xbox. It's not PlayStation. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to stream or anything like that. We're not trying to, like, unthrone our world record. But I'd like to unlock all the achievements. That'd make me feel pretty okay.
Hey, man. Like, and hitting 4 systems at this point with it, is it?
5. This will be my 5th system. Right, is that true? Luna, PC, Switch, and PlayStation 4. Yeah, it'll be my 5th system. Luna. Screw you, Luna. Yeah.
Screw you, Luna.
So, like, that's something I'm going to talk about, right? So, look forward to that, everybody. It should be brief. I don't know how long that's going to go. But I can commit to being done with Bowser's Fury so we can have a proper discussion about it.
Bowser's Furry. That's what they wanted it to be called.
I mean, that's what he is, right? Isn't he like sort of catty?
Oh my God, there's cats everywhere. You have to play it. We'll talk.
That's it. So yeah, we'll talk about it. So moving past that and Stardew, I'll agree with the whole patching system. I had to switch over to playing Cyber Shadow exclusively on PC because of the nature of the fact that it's the only one that's been patched, and I'm not going to learn on the first build of the game.
Yeah.
And like speed tech and stuff. And like, I got my runs down to 1 hour and 29 minutes. I did one just for fun today and got below 90 minutes, and that made me feel pretty good.
Rad, man.
But yeah, that's where I'm at with Cyber Shadow, because like I said, it's apparently all I do now. I need more. And that's where TV comes in.
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk about some of the new and returning shows from the fall 2020 lineup. Or January 2021 lineup, as the case may be.
What is the what are we classifying Walker Texas Ranger as?
Well, Walker Texas Ranger would probably be a mid-season replacement for the CW, because I think that's actually technically what it was. I think they finished off some show on Thursdays, and then they did this, because like it just slots into their Thursday lineup.
Yeah, when did Supernatural end for them?
Supernatural ended, I want to say like September maybe.
Yeah,
sometime late 2020. But Walker just started 4 weeks ago, and interesting you bring up Supernatural, because it's Jared Padalecki. Sam.
Well, yeah. As I said, because as I said, Supernatural ended. Boy needs work.
Boy needs work. That's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be Corey. I can't think of their last name. Savage. It's gonna be Ben Savage doing gigs. It's gonna be on Discovery. Boy needs work. This is actually a pretty good idea for a show. I should stop talking about it. Yeah, I mean, what's Ben Savage doing right now?
Up to immediately.
I mean, you know what? I think I'd go for his older brother Eric, because I know his name, Will Friedle, because I'd rather watch Will Friedle do that.
Oh my god.
With his devil may care attitude. Remember that?
It's like Men at Work meets Jackass. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Oh my god, this is brilliant. And Discovery Plus is probably looking for shows, right? We're tabling this one too, until my idea is not stolen. I want the credit. But yeah, so yeah, let's start with Walker Texas Ranger, which is Walker Texas Ranger literally in name only.
Okay.
First of all, Walker's first name in the show, I don't remember. The Chuck Norris show, I remember one thing, and it's the theme song. And I was initially bummed out when they didn't do some cool, like, country lady version of the theme song as the opening for Walker Texas Ranger 2021. But then I watched an extensive video on the openings of Walker Texas Ranger, all 6 seasons of the series.
Okay.
And there wasn't a lyrical theme song until the 3rd season. So I got hope that eventually is going to happen.
Nice. Yeah. Following those footsteps.
Yeah.
So how much about Walker Texas Ranger? So how into Chuck Norris were you before Walker, or like outside?
I
of
wasn't.
Okay.
Chuck Norris, I never really got the Chuck Norris meme. I remember when TJ came to school and like he communicated exclusively in Chuck Norris meme. And I'm like, this is a thing that exists in the world? I have never heard of it. I'm so internet illiterate, he said on his podcast, still to this day, that I don't fully grasp the Chuck Norris meme, especially because I feel like it didn't come into effect until like 2004. So Walker Texas Ranger had been off the air for 3 years, where suddenly Chuck Norris had a fist under his beard.
It comes from 2 places. So first of all, the internet loves its irony, and so there was something about the idea of the aging Chuck Norris becoming the everybody superstar, and like that can't be denied. But that's the obvious answer. The other answer is middle of the day TNT marathons. And so like in much the same way that there were people out there that like Law and Order became like a thing that they watched during college because they were like, I'm not going to class, I'm gonna hang out and just watch just Law and Order, and it became like right. Walker Texas Ranger was much the same way, where it became this thing where between classes we would go back to our dorm rooms and like Walker Texas Ranger would be on, and so we'd watch episodes of it, right? And like this is coming from somebody that actually I discovered Chuck Norris through so many fabulous like kung fu movies back when I was a kid. So like I kind of knew who Chuck Norris was. So I always think of Walker Texas Ranger as a like martial arts show, much like David Carradine's kung fu. Like in that vein of like it's like the Hulk, but they know karate, like that sort of thing. And so like I am curious to know how much the new show does any type of martial arts, not because like Jared Padalecki's incapable of it, showed more than capable of action scenes all throughout Supernatural and stuff like that, but like he's not a trained martial artist like Norris was. So like do they focus on that at all in
what's that thing that's less than 1? What's less than
0?
1? Yeah, there's 0 martial arts in Walker Texas Ranger on the CW.
See, so then like I'm instantly not interested, because like that is what Walker Texas Ranger is to me. Is it is a martial arts show first that just has the veneer of this like American cowboy on top.
Yeah. So Walker Texas Ranger, first of all, do you know what Walker's first name was in the original series?
Oh my god, I know that he's based on Lone Wolf McQuaid, but I don't think.
Could you look up his name right now as I do some vamping for you?
Yeah,
I just want to see if we know his first name, because I'll tell what I remember of Walker Texas Ranger. I knew nothing about the show. It's not something that I ever watched, but someone on a mix CD put the theme song to Walker Texas Ranger for me, and I fell in love immediately. because I'm like, oh, this show's probably pretty great. It's got a good theme song. And statistically, children, pay attention. If the show has a kick-ass theme song, it's probably not that good a show.
Cordell, by the way. Cordell.
It was Cordell? Okay.
Yeah.
So it is specifically in name only. And the thing that I have to get out of my head every time that I am watching Walker, Texas Ranger on the CW is that they only did this because his name is Cordell Walker, so he's CW, and they're the CW. Like, he's the new Michigan J. Frog for the CW network.
Yeah.
Like, and it makes perfect sense that it's Jared Padalecki who's playing the role. Like, I think they really want him to be the face going forward. And that is also doubled by the fact that, like, every episode during the commercials has had a cute little music video that scenes from the show, obviously some of them that haven't occurred yet, set to like bumping new music.
Is this like this song, like the Tonight's show it features this single? They used to do that after
like
Smallville
NCIS.
all the time.
Yeah, it's like that,
man.
but it doesn't feature this single. This is just a single that we're highlighting,
inspired by
with scenes from Walker, Texas Ranger, and like the last episode we watched definitely showed scenes from a yet to air episode. Because like all of them on horses and they were playing with ropes. And I'm like, they've never done that. This has never happened. So, yeah, it's weird. But then to go a step further, I don't think it's Walker, Texas Ranger's show at all.
Oh, okay.
And my memory is that Walker, right, Chuck Norris, he had a partner and his partner was black. And I feel like that was always a big part of the show because, like, he was the first black Texas Ranger because historically they were a white boys club. Am I wrong in that? I've only ever seen, like, 2 episodes of the show.
Oh, he had a partner that was a football player that I'm
right.
Sure.
That's in the original show, right?
Oh, in the original.
In the original show, he had a partner, and it was a black guy, and I think like the whole story was that he was one of the first black Rangers.
Jimmy Trivet.
Yep.
And he only appeared in. He appeared in every. I'm reading some facts about him. Appeared in all but 2 episodes of the entire series.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the. I mean, like maybe I'm just because what the new show is about. New Walker Texas Ranger. He has a partner. Her name is Mickey Ramirez. So she's a Mexican American.
Okay.
And you know, she's one of the first women Rangers, and she is definitely the first Mexican Ranger in the history of the Texas Rangers.
Okay.
And the thing is that she's partnered up with Walker because he's now adjusting to being on desk duty again because he was undercover and it was supposed to be a brief op and it ended up getting extended for 10 months. And immediately before he went undercover, like he was set to go undercover, and his wife was murdered at the Mexican border. So
what the fuck is going on?
So he left behind his 2 children, August and Stella, with his parents as he went to do this quick undercover thing to like get his mind off of the death of his wife. And then, like, what was supposed to be at most 3 months turns into almost 13 months of undercover work. So now he's back, and his kids are like, we want you here. And his parents are like, you need to be here for your kids. They lost their mother. They can't lose their father, too. And he's got a brother who's gay. He's got a gay brother who's, a lawyer.
Excellent.
Which is great. But it's just, like, there's so much CW in it, where, like, everybody is represented. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I do like it. But the big draw of the show for me, the reason why I am watching Walker, Texas Ranger every week is for Mickey Ramirez, because she's great. And honestly, the reason why I think she's the main character is she's the one who's in every scene. It's not Walker who's in every scene. Like, apparently her and her boyfriend, they were overseas together, and she got out early, and now he's just coming home from his deployment, and he's like, I figured I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to go out again. So like he suddenly moves in with her like on a whim. So she's dealing with like now her first weeks as a Texas Ranger, and like this relationship that was kind of casual just got like hyper accelerated into serious. And like that's the bigger story. Like they tried to give me Walker stuff, and I'm like, I don't really care what's going on with Walker. Like it's supposed to be a big mystery about who killed his wife and like why, but like everybody's like, no, we know who killed your wife. It was this guy. Like we found him. He had some of her possessions. Like you think that it was some big job, but like that was the first episode, and they've kind of pivoted away to that to just be like, yeah, no, Mickey Ramirez is the person who was in charge right here.
Nice.
Maybe, and Captain James is the captain, and he's Walker's former partner, so he might be representing the James Trivett character. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know enough of the show, like I said. But yeah, so he pairs up the new Ranger with Walker so that like she can keep an eye on him because he's an old school cowboy and he might try to bend the rules.
This show sounds fucking rad.
It's so friggin' good. Like, and Mitch Pileggi is his dad.
Yeah, nice.
It's just everything about it. And I watch it, and I'm just like, this is so good. And the last episode, right? Spoilers for the 4th episode of Walker Texas Ranger 2021. It turns out that the guy who was murdered, right, who like kicked off the whole episode, the person that they thought did it, who ended up getting killed in the pursuit, like he ran his car off the road and it put him in a coma and then he died. He was that guy's illegitimate son. And you know how much time they spend on that storyline, Sejohn? 1 minute. 1 minute. Because Mickey is like, she's drawing to like try to understand. And she's like, I think they were related. And then they look it up and they're like, yeah, he was related. There was no bullshit trappings of like meeting the mistress or like learning about it. Like, it's just like, that's the thing. That was his son. So why would he kill him? He was set to inherit everything from him. It has to be the wife because she was going to get nothing. And I'm like, oh, man, this is so good. You guys are just like clipping along. The only issue that I had with the latest episode was that it had 17 endings. Like, move over, Lord of the Rings. Like, it's like, oh, well, they wrapped it up, right? There's like 20 minutes of show left.
Oh, man.
But like, it's so good. It's crazy. It's like a fever dream, but it's also just so enjoyable. I really like Walker Texas Ranger, and I can't believe I'm saying that. But like, the reason is it's Mickey Ramirez. She's just so good as this, like, I'm trying to prove something. And then also that last episode, like, there were just plots on top of plots where she's like, I feel like I'm their token Mexican, and they're using me to justify, like, just running this Mexican guy up as the person who's responsible because I'm okay with it. So, like, he must have been bad. And I'm like, that's just so much depth that, like, is coming from this show that I expected pretty much nothing from. Because, like you said, Walker Texas Ranger was basically an excuse for Chuck Norris to do karate for 44 minutes a week in a cowboy hat.
Right. Oh, man.
It's good, though. I highly recommend it.
I am
Look it up.
excited to get into it.
Yeah. And oh, God. There's just so much. I can't say anymore because I don't want to ruin it for you. But, like, give it a watch. I think you'll really dig it. And then I guess since we're already on the CW, I'd like to talk about Batwoman Season 2.
Yeah, well, I think more importantly, like, what they're doing with it, because Ruby Rose is not around anymore, right?
Yeah, Ruby Rose was like, it's too hard to do a weekly show. And plus, she apparently broke her back and
yeah,
continued to do the show. Like,
she didn't say it's too hard to do a weekly show. She signed up for 13 seasons. They tried to push her to a 26 season series going with the next season, and she said, no, I signed up for 13 episodes a season. I'm going to do 13 episodes a season. And then she broke her back, ended up with a spinal injury that could have killed her, but somehow she survived. And then on top of that, she was also the subject of a fucking like internet like flame war. Like dudes were just riding her fucking ass on Twitter for the last 2 years, ever since she was announced as this character, because of the fact that they did not want somebody like her representing Batwoman.
Which is crazy, because somebody like her is exactly who Batwoman is.
Yes.
Like, say what you will about the CW, they cast people who are in line with it. We're not going to get Scarlett Johansson playing any trans characters on the CW. They'll find a trans person to play that role. They do it right.
But yeah. So Ruby Rose decided that she was done after one season.
And like that. I just want to make sure that like the story around it is that it's too hard, and it's like, no, that's not what happened. There's a lot more there. Please dig under the surface. Be a detective like Batman and look at everything. And Sejohn even illuminated some stuff that I didn't know about. I just knew about broke her back, could have died, kept working after that.
Yeah. On top of that, she came back to work.
Yeah, like way before. She's like, no, I have a responsibility. And they're like, yeah, what the fuck do I know? I'm just a doctor. Finish your 18 holes of golf, Happy. Hi, I'm Devon Decker. I've reset myself just now. So they've replaced the character of Kate Kane with a character played by Jalecia Leslie. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. I say it all the time. And her character, I can't think of her character's name. Can you look it up?
Alicia? It's
no. Alice is the bad girl. She's Javincia Leslie. Oh, Ryan Walker is her name. Is her name really Ryan Walker? You need to look it up, because that's two Walkers on the CW, and my mind is blown.
Now.
Her name is Ryan, though. It's definitely Ryan.
Man.
So she, in the first episode of season 2, finds the Batwoman suit and the side of a river.
Ryan Wilder.
Wilder. Oh God, my mind was. I was writing all sorts of theories and fan fiction already. If she was also a walker, but Kate Kane's plane goes down, and on the shore where the plane went down, she finds the bat suit, and she's pissed at Alice because Alice's goons killed her foster mother, and then Javincia Leslie was framed with the murder. Like, they think that she did it. So she's now, she went to prison. She went to Blackgate. She's now on probation. And, like, she was charged with the death of her mother, which she did not commit. She was just there when they found the body and, like, had tried to perform CPR. So they're like, well, you're covered in her blood. And she's like, but I called the police and then did that. Like, there's a lot of also issues with justice going on in Gotham. And I can't believe we live in, like, a Gotham-esque world in the real world. Like, I've always thought about, like, you would just leave Gotham City, and then it's like, well, you haven't left your own personal Gotham City, Devon. And it's like, shut up, smarter part of my brain. Subconscious, I think they call him.
It could be any of them, really.
Yeah, really, that's a good point. So she finds the Batwoman suit, and she's like, I'm going to get revenge on Alice because I finally have the means to do it. And then, you know, people see her as Batwoman and they're like, well, we do need someone, right? The city needs a hero. So eventually, by the third episode, Lucius Fox's son reluctantly agrees that she's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And she becomes the new Batwoman.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's really cool. I really like it because of the fact that Ryan Wilder is on probation. So she is stepping into a vigilante position, like, as her job. So, like, I'm definitely violating my probation every time I put on the suit. but like it's worth it. It's a level of like superheroes that is so rarely explored.
No, but you got to give credit to Greg Berlanti on this, because this is not the first time we've seen characters like this, specifically in the Arrowverse. I'm thinking specifically of Mad Dog in the later seasons of Arrow.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have these characters of otherness, and when I say otherness, I don't mean just your standard like, hey, there's one black guy in the group now. Like they actually go out of their way to find women, to find lesbians, to find people on parole, people that are in the this idea of otherness meaning more than just what pop culture has led us to believe, which just means like there's one person of color on the team and that makes it a diverse team. In casting her as the new Batwoman, it is a clear stance on things that's really, really cool.
I mean, I like it because she played the sister in God Friended Me, and like a lot of the time she would steal the show whenever she was in a scene. Like they just gave her really meaty stuff to go through, to the point where she's the younger sister in God Friended Me, and every time that they mentioned that, I'm like, I would have assumed she was much older than Miles. Just the way she composes herself, the stuff that she's dealing with. He's like a whiny podcaster. She owns and runs a bar. Like, it's just, they made her the more mature character, and yet she was still the younger of the sibling group. And I was so excited to see that she was going to be working with Greg Berlanti still, because God Friended Me. So, like, I'm glad that she made a good impression on him. I'm glad that she is also, a homosexual, so Batwoman stays a homosexual. It's not like they were giving in to these people saying, this isn't who we want representing this character. In fact, it's kind of a big fuck you by also making it a person of color playing the role of Batwoman.
Yeah, it's like going hard into the idea of we're just going to do what we feel needs to be done in order to break barriers. Yeah.
And it is, so far, it's been really good. Like, in a way that I was kind of nervous about, but like all the stuff that they've done, like Luke Fox's initial apprehension to working with her really kind of felt like that black racism where I do everything right, but because of people like you and your actions, I'm lumped into being part of the problem. And they never said that, but it was just like through mannerisms and through tone. Like, I was happy that they didn't explicitly have him have some stupid speech about that. Like, you can't be that. You can't represent Batwoman because of what you already represent. Like, that would have been so preachy. And I was so, like, nervous that that's where it was coming. Because, like, clearly that was his biggest, like, hang-up about letting her step into Kate Kane's shoes. But the fact that they kept it, like, back burner, slow burn, like, subtextual really impressed me. Sorry.
That's great. I mean, I'm glad to hear it. Look, I think the biggest problem that show is facing right now is that, like, I didn't even, as somebody that is in the Arrowverse and loves these shows, I had no idea that they were pushing forward. When Ruby Rose said that she was leaving the show, I just assumed that meant that was the end of Batwoman. So, like, the fact that there's a season 2 back and there's this other character is phenomenal news, and to hear that it's that you're enjoying it so much is just icing on the cake. But, like, I think that's the biggest thing that show is facing right now is, like, I think because a lot of the stuff that was happening publicly with the way that Ruby Rose was being treated and her subsequent very public leaving of the show, like, they very smartly have tried to step out of that spotlight to let the show kind of, like, succeed on its own. But in that, they have really lost the thread on a lot of people because I had no idea that they were even moving forward with this.
Yeah, I have to say, and everything that I've heard from, like, critics online, they are not happy with the direction that it's gone in. And, I mean, I get that. It's not the comfort food that Batman sort of always has been, if that makes sense.
I wonder if part of it is, though, and this comes a lot from when we were doing the Archie episode a while back, that, like, there's been a real weird turn on CW over the last, like, couple of years, specifically, like, focused on Riverdale, but you can see it leaking into things like their handling of subsequent shows in the Arrowverse and stuff like that, is that they, critically, like, it kind of catches slack for being schlocky and like soapy, and like to the point where people talk about it almost being detrimental, and then it morphs into this idea of hate watching. And I feel like if there was a show besides Riverdale that people were going to latch on the CW to hate watch, Batwoman was certainly it. And so like I wonder how much of it is also being fed by that.
I mean, a lot of it is being fed by hate watching. That is something that I've specifically seen other people talk about, where like, I hate this show, but I have to watch. And I'm just like, I don't get that personally, because there's so much entertainment out there that, like, if you don't like something, why would you keep watching it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's because I don't think people understand what enjoyment actually means. Like, joy is just a foreign concept to them.
That's a statement. That's not 100% wrong. And actually brings me to another show that I've been watching that I've ruined for myself, just like absolutely ruined for myself.
Okay.
And that's Call Me Kat on Fox. It's Maya Bialik's new project.
Right.
Have you heard anything about Call Me Kat?
I know basic like 15-second Hulu promos, but that's about it.
Okay. So the biggest issue with Call Me Kat is that it's based on a 2009 BBC series called Miranda, starring Miranda Hart. Are you familiar with Miranda Hart at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one would hope so. She's kind of a big deal in British television and cinema. She was in Spy with Megan McCarthy. Is that her? Melissa McCarthy.
Megan McCarthy.
All his name. Melissa McCarthy. She was in Spy. That was like a big movie for her. And that was right after Miranda ended in 2015. And Call Me Kat is based on Miranda. And my family enjoyed Call Me Kat. I was kind of on the fence, but mostly because I'm not a fan of shows where the main character is the character I like the least.
Yeah.
Like, even in a show like Walker, Texas Ranger, as much as I feel like Mickey Ramirez is the main drive of that show, I don't hate Cordell Walker. It's not like he's constantly breaking the rules or pushing his own agenda. Like, he's also a good dude and I like him. It's just that they're given the meatier story elements to Mickey. So that's why it feels like she's the main character. But Call Me Kat, other actors, there are Leslie Jordan, who I love Leslie Jordan. He is fantastic. And I'm glad that he went into some deal with the devil to be on Fox sitcoms. The Cool Kids, he was so good in The Cool Kids, a show that I doubt most people even remember happened. I might be the only person who watched the entire series of that. Do you know anybody who was in The Cool Kids? Just as a brief aside? Yeah, okay. It's Leslie Jordan, David Alan Grier, Martin Mull, and I can't think of her, Vicki Lawrence. It was pretty good. Charlie Day was the creative force behind it. And Klinger was there too from MASH. I don't know why I'm talking about The Cool Kids. But Leslie Jordan, right? So he's good. You have Kyla Pratt. They're the two employees in the Cat Cafe. That cat opened up at 39 after being tired of working in, computer science and mathematics.
Yeah.
She opens up a cat cafe to feel fulfilled. And her mother is Swoosie Kurtz. And, you're 39 and unmarried. I'm going to try to find someone for you. And so all of that's weird with Maya Bialik, but my parents liked it. So I'm like, well, we should check out the original show. Because Miranda is a show on the BBC that I've wanted to watch, but I felt like if my parents ever saw it, they would really like it. So, I didn't want to watch it on my own and take away that, communal experience. And Call Me Kat was the perfect, leaping off point to get them to watch it.
Okay.
And I found an article. I don't remember who it's from, and I feel bad about that. But the headline is, the review of Call Me Kat, why not just watch Miranda?
Oops.
And it's true, because all 21 episodes of Miranda are available on Hulu right now. And when you're the person who's writing the humor that you're going to be performing, it feels a lot more natural.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why, even though he wasn't a great actor, Jerry Seinfeld played Jerry on Seinfeld.
And then would go on to make millions doing it. Like not just do it, but succeed.
Yeah. Like, everybody talks about how he's a bad actor. It's like, that doesn't matter. Seinfeld succeeded. Yes, they surrounded it with great actors, right? They knew not to cast the real Kramer and the real George, Larry David, in those roles, because it should be actors playing those roles. But if it's not Jerry Seinfeld doing the Jerry Seinfeld comedy, this show's not going to work.
Right.
And, like, the situations that have been just lifted and transplanted into Call Me Kat, and never in an Office Season 1 situation where they literally just took the script and did it with American actors.
Beat for beat for like even like the Pinter pause-esque awkwardness. Yeah. It's
like the stuff that I can't believe there are 9 seasons of The Office when this is how it started. Because a big thing about both shows is that they address the audience directly. A lot of fourth wall breaking, but Mayim Bialik, it's like jarring every time she's talking to me. Miranda, I feel like I'm in the room, and she's just looking at me for the next comment, and then back to the people. It's interesting.
Really weird. But really, I mean, like it shows you that like the charisma and charm of your lead can change everything.
Right. And I don't want to like be down on Mayim Bialik. I think that she's doing a fine job. It's just that like these situations, a lot of them are uniquely British and uniquely 2009, which is when Miranda happened. Like,
oh man.
A lot of these storylines in 2021 are not as funny as they were.
I dropped my sidekick and broke it in half.
And the fact that it's a cat cafe instead of like a joke shop, like that's a big change, right? Because she goes from her joke shop to hang out at the restaurant next door in Miranda, and like that makes sense that you would leave a restaurant to go to a restaurant, but leaving the cat cafe to go to the piano bar next door just kind of seems gratuitous.
We get it. You live in a quirky area.
Yeah. I don't know. And also, the last thing about Miranda, and I'm trying to keep this on the DL, right? So hopefully no one from my family listens to this show. I'm pretty sure they don't. Tom Ellis, a.k.a. Lucifer, plays the guy, like, next door who, like, they've known each other since college, and there's kind of a will they, won't they thing going on. And it's made me so happy to watch Lucifer, seeing him in this heavy comedic role.
Still being as handsome, charming, and British as ever, though.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. He's so good in Miranda. Like, watch Miranda is basically the headline of this. And after you watch Miranda, watch Call Me Kat and be like, yeah, there's something missing. Or maybe you'll love it and be like, nah, these British sensibilities don't work for me. But also, I mean, Miranda Hart, like, part of her whole thing is that she's very tall, right? Mayim Bialik doesn't have that very tall joke, like, baked into her. So you're missing something there.
Baked into her. Oh, man.
I'm just saying. And I'd like to talk about Mr. Mayor. Are you familiar with Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, we want to talk about tall, goofy comedians. Let's talk about Ted Danson.
Right? It seemed like a natural crossover point. So I hated Mr. Mayor when I started watching it. The first episode was kind of painful to watch. Okay. And then I found myself looking for background noise as I played through Cyber Shadow, currently at 18 clears of the game. And I'm like, well, I'll just throw on Mr. Mayor, right? It's like harmless fun. And it's not Cheers. Because like every time I start Cheers, I know that I'm going to have to go all the way to the end of it. But like Mr. Mayor, there's 7 episodes right now. It might not go past 13. I hope it does. Because like Holly Hunter being in a weekly sitcom is kind of crazy.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And also, I can't think of his name. He plays Louis. He's Harry. Bobby Moynihan.
Plays Louis Duck.
Yeah,
like
Louis Duck.
Louis C.K. played a Louis.
No.
Louis Anderson played a Louis.
Bobby Moynihan as, I don't even know what his job
Page,
is.
Right? Isn't he
I don't. It's so weird because
Dave.
he's got this big. It's like a big deal that his chief of staff is this young woman of color, and she's the first. She's the youngest chief of staff that the city of Los Angeles has ever had. And also she's the first person of color to hold that position. So, it's all this, progressive stuff that's happening, which, it's also crazy because it's LA, but, politics is still pretty much the same game as it's always been. And a lot of the humor comes from that. I don't know exactly. He's his assistant, but also more than that, I don't know. I don't know what he is, but Bobby Moynihan, what he is doing in that show, he's fucking on fire. And Kyla Kennedy is there, and I first fell in love with Kyla Kennedy as an actor in Night Shift, the show Night Shift, which if you haven't watched, watch Night Shift. It's on Netflix. It's a medical drama, and it's got El Rey from Planet Terror in it. I always forget his name. And I said that next time I'm going to know his name because I want to give him credit. No, he's not a Rodriguez. He's can you look up his name, please?
I'm pretty sure it's Freddie Rodriguez.
It is Freddie Rodriguez. You're right. Is he related to Robert Rodriguez?
I actually do not think he is.
He isn't, no, because Robert Rodriguez is an S and Freddie Rodriguez is a Z at the end. Also, I'm very British today, referring to Z as Z. Look at me. I don't know what this episode of The Say Report is. There's a little part of me that's like, do we even release this one?
Oh, we've released them all, man.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't know. I got to tell you, it's just that I was so down when this started. So I'm really happy that I'm able to pump my enthusiasm up to this level. But Mr. Mayor, as it's just as ridiculous as it is, I have to imagine that it's semi Parks and Rec inspired, just without the whole documentary aspect of it, right? Because I'm pretty sure Parks and Rec is also the Office documentary style, right?
Yeah, it really loses a lot of it as it goes along, but it's there through to the end.
Okay.
It is much more in the first season.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, definitely not that. Definitely just a single camera, very, quick fire stuff. Andy McDowell has played Andy McDowell in the show, which was very funny. David Spade, Chrissy Teigen. It's very much an NBC Remember When show.
Okay, yeah.
Who is this? Who is this small person? That's David Spade from Just Shoot Me. And it's oh, that's on NBC, right? That's clever what you guys just did there.
Nice.
But it's really good. And it's a lot of also actors that were on failed one season NBC shows are coming in as guest stars. So it's just been very fun. I can't believe, after watching the first episode, I'm nah, this show's not going to be for me. And now I've watched through all 7 episodes 4 or 5 times.
Nice.
So Mr. Mayor is another recommendation I'm just going to throw you. You know what I'm going to talk about? Call Your Mother, too. Right? There's only been 3 episodes of Call Your Mother, but Kira Sedgwick, I just want to hug her all the time. Yeah. Ever since Heart and Souls, back when she was just a, off-budget clone of Julia Roberts. Someone else said that.
She had Kira Sedgwick, wasn't she the one with the closer or something? No, who was that?
It was the closer. That was Kira Sedgwick. Nice job.
That was Kira Sedgwick.
That was when she really came into her own.
Yeah, she's fucking badass on
She was badass on the closer. Even though, they don't show Closer reruns, but they show Major Crimes, the spinoff of the Closer reruns, all the time.
I wonder if there's some rights held up somewhere by somebody.
I don't know. I know that her and Kevin Bacon, right? Would you want to talk power couple? That's the one that it would have Devon Decker quaking in his boots. If I had to go have dinner at Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick's house, I would be I'm gonna fuck this up right?
Somehow.
They're gonna murder me, and they're gonna get away with it because they're the Sedgwick Bacons. Oh, we went hang gliding, and there was an updraft, and it pulled him out to sea.
Poor Devon. We never saw him again.
I just feel like I'm just like, oh, that, like, I'm not a person who has anxiety or gets anxious, but right now, just the thought of a dinner party with them, oh man, Sejohn, I'm quaking in my boots.
I'd spend the whole time talking to Kevin Bacon about Stir of Echoes, so there'd be reason to be scared.
Cool. Don't go hang gliding when they ask you to go hang gliding, Sejohn. Because your body's going to wash up on the same desert island as mine. Because Kevin Bacon does not want to talk about Stir of Echoes. Or Footloose. I don't know what he wants to talk about. What is Kevin Bacon probably just wants to talk about the weather.
Yeah, I bet you, like...
I don't know. Why...
I bet Kevin Bacon... No, wait a minute. This is a good question to ask towards the end of our show today. What does Kevin Bacon want to talk about? I feel like if Kevin Bacon wanted to talk about anything, it's probably like baseball, right? Like, it's probably something just like nothing like movie, TV show related. I don't want to talk about like money. Like, we don't have to talk about the house. Like I bet you he's super into like making sausage. Bacon's Sausage. That is the name of his sausage company.
Oh man, that's so confusing. People don't know what they're buying.
Is it sausage made with bacon? No, it's made by bacon.
Oh, like pigs make it? No. Kevin Bacon makes it. That's why his picture's on the package.
Yes.
I was wondering. I just thought that like he endorsed it. He makes it? Bacon's making bacon? No, he's making sausage. What has happened? But I feel like that's the thing, is that if you go to have dinner at Kira Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon's house, you cannot mention any of their work. It needs to be like if you and I were having dinner and like we talked about the video games that we've been playing or like the drive over. And I feel like there would just be that moment where I could like perfectly slip a reference into one of their things into the conversation. And my mouth would be faster than my mind. And then, like, it would just be like, they put their silverware down. They ask me to stand up. Kira walks me to the door as Kevin takes my chair, pushes it up and in as if no one was ever sitting there before. And then, you know, we walk out to the balcony and they push me over. And, like, that's what you get, right? And then also they're right there, and then like Kevin's like, it was pretty good though, right? Like I should kick off my Sunday shoes. I don't know what happened. Oh, call your mother. It's Kira Sedgwick's new show, and she's allowed to have a show because Kevin Bacon currently isn't working, because that seems to be the deal they have with each other, is only one of us is going to be working at any given time. Which is, that seems so nice, right? Wouldn't that be a lovely relationship to be in?
For sure. Yeah. I feel like Kevin Bacon probably feels like maybe he's the one not working so much lately, but you know.
Right. But I mean, but like when he started doing the following, that's when Kira Sedgwick ended the closer. It works. They make it work, right? Celebrities are just like us.
It's why there can't be reruns of the closer on right now, is because she's working on something else.
Right, exactly. Or he's working on something else, or his reruns are showing. Like, it's all about keeping their life balance in check. And we all just bow to them because we could connect any actor to Kevin Bacon in 6 movies or less. So Call Your Mother sees Kira Sedgwick as Jean, and she is a mother from Idaho. I believe it's Idaho. I think it's Idaho. It might be Iowa. I think it's Idaho. It's one of the I states, and it's not Indiana. It could be Indiana. It's one of the I states, and both of her children have moved out of the house and are living in California. And when she doesn't hear from her son for 3 days, she hops on a plane and flies out to California, and she gets an Airbnb, and then she's like now living in that Airbnb because her children need her, kinda.
Okay.
So she's now moved to California to be there for her children and to be a part of their life.
Helicopter parent. Yeah,
yeah, okay. A little bit. And the worst part of that show are her kids. Her kids are awful. I hate her kids. It's the hardest thing to watch is her two children, but her son's girlfriend and her daughter's roommate, they're fantastic. So it's like real weird. Like, if you were the kids, I'd really care for this show. And then also she's got a will they won't they with her landlord, the guy whose guest house she's staying in.
Right.
Because they almost had sex in the first episode. But then the next day, like, she found out that even though their process of getting divorced, his ex-wife is still around, kind of. Yeah. Not living in the house, but, like, still sort of dealing with stuff in the house.
Great. Okay.
So she's like, I want someone who's going to be 100% there for me. I'm not really comfortable in this situation. I mean, it's one of those shows I feel like it's probably going to get canceled. I feel like a lot of shows are going to get canceled, though. Like, mostly for fear that they're so good. Like, I enjoy them so much. And when I enjoy a show in its first season as much as I enjoy most of the shows I've talked about in this episode of the Say Report,
they ain't going to last.
They don't last.
Yeah.
It's like a cruel trick of fate. And then meanwhile, there's, 12 seasons of The Big Bang Theory, which I hated in its first season.
Hated for most of its last few seasons too.
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah,
I
straight up, I've never seen the 7th season of The Big Bang Theory.
All right.
You know what brought me back to it is that episode where they watched Indiana Jones and Amy Farrah Fowler, Mayim Bialik, from earlier, says I didn't like it because Indiana Jones contributes nothing to the plot of the film, and that broke like people I knew in real life.
Yes, it became the meme that became too real for a lot of people. Yeah,
like, and then I'm like, well, I have to see this episode. It's the only episode of The Big Bang Theory that I own, he said with huge air quotes, because I bought it on Amazon.
Version.
Like,
yeah, there you go.
And I'm like, yeah. I need to see it. Like, this is really affecting people. And I'm like, no, I mean, like, that's what ruined the movie for you? I've been saying that for years. Like, it's kind of the interesting part of the film. Is that
I've been playing the useless hero for years.
That's what you do. That's why he's so fun as a character, because his actions literally have no consequences.
He tries. It achieves nothing by the end of that movie.
There's no growth. He's using a game genie or cheat codes to beat a video game. Sorry. Oh, Sejohn, I don't know. But Call Your Mother, I still watch every week because, it's Kira Sedgwick, and she's just so good on the show. But, oh my God, her kids are awful. Like, I wouldn't leave one of the I-states to move to California if that's how they're acting. I want to give credit to Mr. Mayor. I'm bouncing all around. I'm like a ball. The 7th episode of Mr. Mayor, he talked about the Northridge earthquake in 1994. Mm-hmm. And he said, I learned how to drive a truck so that there would be enough Ace Ventura billboards up before the film released. And I'm like, I need to check that. I need to double check that because I know the Northridge earthquake happened in 94 and so did Ace Ventura. But is that real? Because I know so much about Ace Ventura now because of this stupid show that we do. I love this show. I'm sorry. Because of a stupid topic that we covered on this show, which I love. And yeah, the Northridge earthquake happened on January 17th, so it makes sense that he would be putting up billboards for Ace Ventura, which would be releasing in 3 weeks' time.
You know what that means? Is that was somebody's actual story in that writer room. Somebody in that writer room did exactly that.
I have to imagine so, yeah. Like, it was one of those moments where I'm like, oh, this can't be true. They have to have just been like, oh, this happened in 94 and this movie happened in 94. And then, like, to see that the timeline worked out, yeah, that's why I love Mr. Mayor. Right there. That's why.
Excellent.
Also, Yellowstone. I finished Yellowstone, but we're already deep in this episode. I don't have enough time to cover 39 episodes of television.
Didn't we talk about Walker, Texas Ranger already?
There is a Walker in Yellowstone. I don't know if you know that. My father thought it was fucking hilarious because he goes away in the middle of the 2nd season and then he comes back in the 3rd and he's like, yeah, he's been busy being a Texas Ranger.
Your dad and I, we connect on some levels.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm fully aware, Sejohn. Most people are just trying to find their mother if they're ill, but I also found my dad. Not that I'm collecting father figures. I'm not Bill from Kill Bill. Kill Bill also, like that movie, that holds up really well,
That
and
movie
also
happens.
like huge effect on pop culture. Like watching it, however many years removed. Let's see, 2003, so 18 years removed. Just like, oh wow, this movie changed everything in a way that I wasn't fully aware of
Yeah.
until rewatching it. Whew. All right, Sejohn, I have talked and talked and talked. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about on this episode?
No. I've spent the entire summer doing
Summer?
kind of a, yeah,
Oh, okay.
like started back in like June or maybe even earlier.
It's
probably.
still It's still February, right? I haven't talked for months and months.
No,
It's not September.
I spent last summer. That's
Okay.
where the confusion.
Thank you.
Like this summer, but the past summer.
Yeah.
Rereading Redwall as one of the many books that I read. And so in our infinite quest to bring back all the things on this show that we talk about, like I had been like trying to figure out if there was a reason to like bring it up, and then Netflix went and announced that Patrick McHale of Over the Garden Wall fame is going to be doing a Redwall adaptation for them, and I nearly shit myself this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're probably going to talk about Redwall at some point. And in fact, I will say this. I will even go so far as to say this. Go out there and pick up a copy of the first book because, like, it's an easy read and it's fucking delightful. There's a PBS show, and the first season of the PBS show covers the entire first book. It's a good time, and I'm excited to, like, have a reason to talk about it because I reread it this summer and fell in love all over again.
Well, you read Ghostbusters, so I guess I can read Redwall. Reread. Hi, Devon Decker here. Keep talking.
But no, other than that, like, not anything else I really want to talk about today. A lot of stuff coming down the pike that we need to look at. We need to look at some Mario next week. We got some other stuff to address. Soon the end of WandaVision so that we can talk about whatever that is. Yeah, I don't know. Also, did we mention that the other thing coming out in March for Disney is Mighty Ducks? Did I say that last time when we were talking about?
we haven't talked about it
I don't know if we're
we
gonna get...
personally were focused on something else that I'm going to finish up this episode with. So
the only reason I'm bringing that up is because we mentioned last week that Falcon and Winter Soldier, and about how we felt that had to be a late March thing to pick up kind of after where WandaVision was leaving off. But I think what we're going to end up with is the end of WandaVision. Raya and the Last Dragon is going to be up on Disney, though you will have to pay extra for that. But then you're also going to get Mighty Ducks as well. So, like, March is pretty full for Disney. So we'll see. We'll see if they also squeeze in Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier into that. Yeah, I am not so sure that we're going to get Falcon and Winter Soldier as soon as we want. But yeah, what else? What you
I
got?
would be completely okay with, because first of all, apologies for last week. I didn't realize that WandaVision is 9 episodes. So the 9th episode will be releasing on Disney Plus the same day as Raya and the Last Dragon.
Right.
So, like, they're smart about it. And the fact that Mighty Ducks has a date already, we're probably not going to see Falcon and Winter Soldier until at least April.
I wonder if they'll try and hit May. They'll hit that Marvel sweet spot since they can't guarantee that they're going to be able to get Black Widow
out. Yeah. See, that's... I don't know. If it were me, right, and who am I don't do it, I'd be shooting for a Good Friday release of Falcon and Winter Soldier so that you can just get as many eyes on it as possible. And if you're one of those people who didn't watch it, but you go to Easter and everybody's talking about it, I'm talking about it like Easter's the thing that people will be going to, as if we won't still be like, stay away from large crowds and gatherings in April.
Large ground.
Yeah, large ground is terrifying. They call them mountains usually. That it'd be something that would just drive people to make sure that they see the next episode.
Right.
But again, like, I'm also thinking a different world where those situations would happen. But like Good Friday would make sense because most people have it off. So then they're home anyway, and here's something new to watch.
Yeah.
But again, we don't work for Disney Plus. At least we're not on the payroll for Disney Plus. They have to be listening. We know they're listening.
Yeah.
We know that Jeff Bezos is listening because he got our message and a week later retired from Amazon.
Yeah, he was like, "Wait, they got my game, guys. I gotta go. They're on to me.
I gotta start enjoying life before I'm a brain in a jar in 30 years." I do. I take full credit for him doing that, like on a real personal level. But another thing that I need to address, because I can't believe it, I talked about Palmer, the Justin Timberlake movie, and I raved about it. I really enjoyed it. Completely neglecting to mention that Fisher Stevens directed it.
Oh, okay. Man, hacker man himself.
The Plague, or Benji from Short Circuit, or the Opportunist from Early Edition. I want Early Edition. CW, let's do a reboot of Early Edition. And the kid gets tomorrow's tweets today, right? Because news media is dead.
I feel like that Amazon show that Robbie Amell is doing right now isn't going to last much longer. He could use more work, and CW loves getting MMLs and things.
Yeah, right? I could totally see Robbie Amell becoming the new Gary, and every morning a cat shows up with an iPad at his door, and he sees tomorrow's tweets today. Yep, Early Edition still works for that.
Man, that'd be so good, because then part of the mystery is like he's only got 240 words in front of him. He's got to figure out what happened.
Right? It's not reading a whole article. He needs to like figure it out. It's so good. This is like, I feel like I have come up with so many good ideas in this episode.
We've had too many good ideas this episode. We need to end this now before we release all of our good stuff.
So that's it. So yeah, Fisher Stevens directed Palmer. So if you were on the fence after that, my God, watch what Fisher Stevens can do from behind the camera. Because I'm a huge fan of Mr. Stevens' work, and it continues into the realm of directing. So I think that's everything from me. Anything else that you would like to add before I shamelessly self-promote us?
In 1997, there was a movie by the name of Trojan War. It was a Will Friedle-led comedy, only one that ever came out in theaters. It cost $19 million to make. It only made $309 back in ticket sales. There's a reason we don't know about that movie. I
love that movie. That shows a lot. That showed a lot on the CW on Saturdays.
Yeah.
At like 3 p.m. $309.
$309. It apparently played on one screen in one theater on its opening weekend, and then closed down promptly.
I thought that was straight to DVD. I learned something today.
It might be the thing that kind of started the straight to VHS movement, to be entirely honest.
Return of Jafar came out in 1994, and that is what started the straight to VHS movement. Mm-hmm. I will fight tooth and nail for that, because Return of Jafar, it ruined movies. I'll say it. What was that?
Phenomenal movie.
I mean, it led to the Aladdin animated series, which I think is still the best continuation animated series that Disney has ever provided, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, another day.
But I guess the other thing I want to talk about is the Say Report. We have another podcast that Sejohn and I do, and we've just released our second episode in that series. So if you like us talking about everything, but like would like it more focused on maybe just one topic,
so maybe one thing
as opposed to literally everything, writing the tags for this episode is going to be impossible for me, because I think I've said every word in the English language this episode. That's what you get for copying down a dictionary in second grade. That's a story for another time, too. Anywho, it's called the Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe, and it's available wherever podcasts are found. Wherever you find the Say Report, you can also find the Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe. And we focused on Happy Gilmore. And I had fun talking about Happy Gilmore.
Yes, hell of a time. Go check it out. I mean, we've already heard back about some really nice stuff with the first couple of episodes, and really appreciate that. And we just hope we can keep giving you guys more. But I had a hell of a time talking about Happy Gilmore. It was super fun.
Yes. So if you like this and you want to have more fun with us, find the Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe. If you would like to reach out to Sejohn with the movie you felt started the direct-to-VHS revolution, he can be found on Twitter at Siege versus the World.
And if there was any sitcom that Devon didn't mention watching tonight, you can hit him up at Devon D. Decker and let him know.
I was kind of hoping you were going to say if you're one of the people who spent a single dollar of that $309 to see Trojan War when it came out in theaters.
You get in touch with us.
You get in touch with us at the Say Report on Twitter. We want to shake your hand back when we can shake hands again. Or an elbow bump. I don't know. I've said too much this week. William, please shut me up and bring us home.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.